The man freezes as a scream cuts through the Grand Hall terminal, glass shattering around him. He barely notices the gun in his hand trembling. He sees a woman crouched near a railing, unaware of the approaching shadow. The clock ticks 11:11. A collision of bodies sends a brief explosion of papers into the air. The man's vision doubles. He jolts awake in his apartment, the sunlight cruel and calm. His chest heaves with the echo of yesterday's chaos. The news reports a dying star, Vera, collapsing decades ago, now sending light that shakes the earth. He stares blankly. On his bike through the city streets, every honk and siren feels orchestrated. The terminal looms like a trap. At work, screens flicker constellations, forming impossible shapes. He hesitates, hands hovering over controls. A single plane blinks red. His delay almost costs lives. He yells instructions, barely regaining control. Suspended indefinitely, he wanders into a nightclub. Music throbs like a heartbeat he cannot stop. A ticket falls from an envelope onto his table, an invitation. He doesn't yet know whose life will intersect with his. The gallery glimmers with floating lights. She appears in the crowd, auburn hair catching the glow. They speak without introducing themselves. Words stumble into a connection neither can explain. The next morning, street sounds sync with his pulse. Drops of water, a falling leaf, a distant siren, everything repeats. At exactly 9:12, the city aligns, a businessman reads a newspaper, a couple embraces, a child drops a toy. He records everything in a notebook, shaking as the mundane repeats with eerie precision. The gallery exhibits a new hologram. The city he watched unfolds as light and shadow across the walls. Patterns intensify. He notices small shifts, the leaf falls a fraction earlier, a shadow moves against expectation. A stranger's gaze lingers too long. He senses malice. The woman doesn't notice. Glass shatters. Time fractures around him. The 11:11 moment approaches with inevitability. He reaches her side. Their eyes lock. The clock ticks once, twice, then stops. The man wakes on the gallery floor, disoriented. Holographic lights swirl above, flickering like warnings. Outside, the street repeats itself again, the businessman, the couple, the child. But this time, the pregnant woman isn't there. He rushes to a rooftop, notebook in hand. Every detail aligns, the falling leaf, the plane overhead, but the siren is delayed. She finds him there, calm despite the chaos. She smiles, but he cannot return it, he sees danger in every shadow. A car screeches below, repeating an accident he has seen 3 times already. Fear claws at his chest. Patterns multiply. Each step through the city triggers premonitions, a newspaper spins, a dog barks, glass falls. At night, he dreams of shadows attacking the gallery. He wakes screaming, sheets soaked in sweat. The gallery's lights flicker again. She watches, fascinated, as patterns appear in the holograms he has seen on the street. A figure looms behind her, tall, sharp, dangerous. He senses the threat before she does. He follows her home through narrow streets. Every sound echoes a warning, every reflection repeats the pattern. At her door, she laughs lightly, breaking his tension, but a flicker in her expression freezes him. The notebook shows the sequence: water drop, bug, plane. Everything aligns with precision, but he missed the warning this time. He notices a hidden envelope in her apartment. The handwriting is decades old, folded like a secret waiting to explode. He notices a hidden envelope in her apartment. The handwriting is decades old, folded like a secret waiting to explode. He chases the sequence into the terminal. Every detail from his dreams manifests in the real world. She calls him frantic. Someone is following her. His mind races, patterns converge like a trap. He bursts into the gallery, the figure confronts him. His first attack, first fight for survival begins. She shields herself, stepping between them. A sculpture crashes behind her, splintering stone and glass. The attacker flees, leaving a trail of papers. The patterns now scream, "This is bigger than time loops." Outside, the street repeats, businessman, couple, child, pregnant woman, her. The terminal's clock ticks 11:11. The pattern diverges, a car skids into the crosswalk. He lunges, pulling her to safety. She stares at him, fear and gratitude warring. He realizes the sequence is warning them both. The hologram in the gallery now mirrors their lives in 3 dimensions, a map of repeating danger. He traces letters from decades ago, discovering the original lives mirrored in their own. A shadow moves in the terminal. He senses a stalker replicating history, someone who knows the pattern. The gallery shows his own steps, her movements, everyone frozen in holographic time loops. She touches the projection, sparks of light fracture the room. Their shared birthday looms close, like fate ticking toward collapse. Patterns escalate, car crash, falling objects, planes above. He writes furiously to predict the next moment. He realizes the danger is no longer abstract, the stalker wants her, repeating a tragedy from decades ago. She discovers photographs of herself in the stalker's files. Panic ignites her expression. They escape into the night, sirens wailing in the distance. The city is a labyrinth of repeated fate. At his apartment, the pattern strikes again, drop of water, bug on notebook, plane overhead. The warning continues. He links the dots, the stalker's obsession mirrors the original tragedy. Time wants to repeat unless they act. She finally believes him. Together, they try to map every movement before the next inevitable hour. He realizes Jonas, her ex, might be involved. Holograms, photographs, and letters point toward obsession and danger. Patterns in the terminal intensify, every second, every shadow, every step seems preordained. She warns him, he could die trying to stop history. He ignores it, driven by survival and love. A gunshot shatters the gallery window. They dive behind a display just as light fractures around them. Patterns collapse. The terminal's clock hovers near 11:11. Every second feels final, irreversible. He realizes the original tragedy repeats at the same hour. They have only moments to intervene or perish. They retreat into the underground tunnel as footsteps echo behind them. The sound repeats, exactly 3 beats apart. He stops suddenly, realizing the echo is part of the pattern. This tunnel was always meant to be used. She stumbles, and he catches her before she hits the ground. The sound of metal falling arrives 1 second too late. The stalker's silhouette appears at the far end, unmoving. He doesn't chase. He waits. They emerge onto the city streets, but the sequence restarts instantly. Siren. Laughter. Breaking glass. He realizes something new, the pattern is tightening, removing extra time. The loop is accelerating. They reach the apartment, and he begins packing documents, notebooks, anything that proves what's happening. She finds a hidden compartment in the wall. Inside are older letters, written in a different hand. The dates are decades old. The tragedy already happened here once. They are standing inside its echo. A gunshot rings out from below. The sequence has moved forward without them. They run. The city seems to fold inward, pushing them toward the terminal. At the gallery, the hologram has changed. It now shows 3 figures instead of 2. One of the figures is holding a weapon. The projection shows exactly where it will happen. He understands, the stalker isn't just repeating history. He's trying to correct it. They split up to draw him out. The decision feels wrong immediately. The pattern breaks for the first time. The siren doesn't come. The air feels empty. He reaches the terminal and sees the scene already assembled. The players are in position. The businessmen. The couple. The child. And her, standing where the woman always stands. The stalker steps out from the crowd, calm, certain, holding a gun like a conclusion. He shouts her name, but the terminal swallows the sound. The clock reads 11:10. The stalker turns the gun toward him first. Just like before. Then the gun shifts toward her. The choice is being repeated. He runs. The world narrows to distance and time. The shot fires early. He feels the impact before he hears it. He hits the floor at 11:10. The clock keeps moving. History is already off script. She screams and runs to him. The pattern is breaking in visible pieces. Security appears from both sides. The stalker turns, surprised for the first time. The stalker fires again. The shot goes wide. He is tackled to the ground. The gun skids across the marble floor. The clock reaches 11:11. Nothing else happens. For the first time, the moment passes without catastrophe. He is lifted onto a stretcher, barely conscious. He keeps looking at the clock. The hologram, miles away, flickers and shuts down. The patterns stop. The city becomes just a city again. The news reports the collapse of Star Vera's signal. The sky returns to normal. He survives. The wound becomes a scar. The notebook remains blank. She visits him every day. They don't talk about patterns anymore. The terminal clock keeps ticking. It never stops again. Some things were repeated. Some things were corrected. The rest were erased. But one final piece of the story still hasn't been paid for. The stalker's apartment is unsealed by investigators. Inside, walls are covered with maps of the terminal and hundreds of timed notes. He learns the stalker wasn't trying to repeat the tragedy. He was trying to change it, and was willing to kill to do so. The letters from decades ago are officially archived. The past is no longer a rumor haunting the walls. The gallery closes the hologram exhibit permanently. The room feels smaller without moving light. His doctors tell him the damage is permanent. He will never return to his old job. For the first time, the loss feels real. The patterns didn't just take time. They took his future. She offers to leave the city with him. He refuses. This place needs to stop being a battlefield. They decide to stay, not because it's safe, but because it's finally normal. Weeks pass. The sky never flickers again. The city stops repeating itself. The terminal becomes just a building. No symbols. No warnings. Just noise and motion. He visits the clock once a week. It never stops. He finally believes it never will. She leaves the gallery and starts working in a smaller studio. No projections. Only physical things. He throws away the notebook. The last page is still blank. The news reports the final disappearance of Star Vera's signal. No replacement follows it. He sleeps without dreams for the first time in months. One morning, he walks past the terminal without looking inside. Nothing pulls him back anymore. She takes his hand, not to protect him, but because she wants to. They stop counting days. Time becomes something that simply passes. Somewhere, a story that tried to repeat itself finally fails. And for the first time, nothing is about to happen.